Nathan Bonner here, the Keymaster of the Ozarks. Some people have been requesting, well, a video about my slimes. A public video. Well, as you've seen, Pixel Dan last year received some of my slime samples that I sent him. Unfortunately, part of the batches were unstable, so it didn't survive by the time he could do a review. But I've had my own slime samples, and slime samples I've been making for everybody else for the last 2 years. Some of the slime samples I have is the Reproduction foot ooze, just like Pixel Dan reviewed. This is the exact same batch that I actually sent to him. I put some in my own can. As you can see, it's held up pretty well over the last year. It's runny, it's oozy. It's everything you'd want from Ooze. Certain people like to mock me because of my bad batches that went to Pixel Dan last year. Oh, it turned to water. Well, yeah, it's slime. Unfortunately, if the compound becomes unstable from the mixture batch being slightly off on ratio, it turns back to water and the other, rest of the compound. Also, things like heat thin out the slime and can turn it back to water. So, you kind of want to keep your slime out of hot, extreme temperatures, especially over 75 degrees. So once it starts getting about 75 degrees, the slime loosens up pretty good, and then eventually, when you hit 80, 90 degrees, it's going to turn into water. Whereas cold will do the opposite to slime. It'll freeze it. Freezing slime can be bad, depending on the slime compound. Most slime compounds, once it gets back to room temperature, you'll usually have to remix the slime and let it resettle, and it'll, well, turn back to slime. And then I got my Reproduction Ooze that I refilled back up. I believe this was the same batch I sent Pixel Dan, but it destabilized a little bit over the year. I, of course, re-thickened it out. Bloop. Ooh. Currently I have a batch of mutagen that's waiting for another person. As you can see, it's pretty stable after 9 months or more. The original Playmates slime, or ooze, or whatever you want to call it, was a different type of slime compound. It usually turned to water within 30 days after you broke the seal on the canister. It's another reason why all the canisters, even when they're still sealed, are usually turned to water, because it had a shelf life. The compound doesn't last forever, except for this one, because this one's, well, it's based off the Kenner one, and as we all know, there's Kenner cans out there, the real Ghostbusters slime that's still good after 30 years. People are like, you should teach me how to make it. Well, I could. It's not hard. It's a little annoying. Technically, it's already out there. It's been out there for years. Just nobody in the community really wants to take the time, the effort to do everything I've done over the past several years. Of course, I'm working with certain people to continue my project, certain people that are devoting their time into, say, trying to reproduce the labels or make their own custom labels. Which I would like to find somebody to help me make Ninja Turtle ones. And of course, here we have some actual reproduction, real Ghostbusters Ecto-Plazm that I've currently made for somebody who's made an order with me. We got Class 9 red, neon red, or as some people still call it, pink. There was actually 2 shades of the original real Ghostbusters Class 9. When it launched, it was a reddish neon pink. A year later, they changed it into a more pink, like Ghostbusters 2 pink, or a pearlesque pink would be the best phrase. We also got the original 1987 purple, and then of course custom Class 5 green that we all wish we had as a kid, but we didn't. As you can see, it's pretty thick but runny. I can change the consistency, you know, just add a little more water to it, mix it up. But this is what most people remember as ectoplasm. Ectoplasm, like any slime, the consistency actually varied by canister, you know, depending on how old it was, the temperature of the environment that it was stored in, or how the batch was made. Sometimes they were too watery, sometimes they were too thick. When the red was first introduced with the Firehouse and the Mini Goopers, well, I had the Mini Goopers, and whatever batch they made back in 1987, 88 that they had out, it was pure water when I opened my Mini Goopers. It was a very sad day for me as a kid. And here we have the elusive Extreme Ghostbusters Ecto-Plazm from 1997. The one on the right is an actual still-filled canister from 1997 that was given to me by a friend who's unfortunately passed away. It's still stayed pretty full these years. It's got some slight evaporation that's happened since 1997. Not much. I know one thing, the coloring on it usually settles down to the bottom every 20 days or so. You have to shake it back up. And then on the left is mine, also from 1997, that was empty, because I used it. I had to play with it in 1997. Fortunately, that was a mistake, because Extreme Ghostbusters Ecto-Plazm was very, very runny. It was really not meant to be reused. So, yeah. Not demonstrating the original, never will. Not worth the time. However, since this is reproduction, this is a lot thicker than the 1997 Extreme Ecto-Plazm. And a lot more stable because of that. I can actually, you know, pick it up instead of a water puddle. It's still pretty watery though, but it does what it's intended to for the house ghost, Gooper Ghost, and Ectoplasmic Boogerfest. Egon, your mucus. Next up we have He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, the Evil Horde Slime. This is an original can. I got it off of eBay, I think about 5-10 years ago. Somewhere around there. With the slime pit, of course. I had to have another slime pit because I lost mine as a kid. Unfortunately, it got demolished outside. That was horrible. Anyway, as all Masters of the Universe slimes are, except for one sample that I've seen online, they always dry up, turn to water, so, well, I just emptied my can, because, I mean, what the hell? I didn't want water in it. Even though it had helped me at least to try to guess the coloring for the original slime. Masters of the Universe Evil Horde Slime was available actually in 2 colors. The original was a neon pastel green, and later on, during its last, I guess, year or 2 on the market, it was actually more of a a opal white yellow. You can actually see it in the movie Big with Tom Hanks, I guess. Anyway, my can's currently empty. I had some reproduction in there, but unfortunately these Masters of the Universe cans don't have a very good airtight seal on them compared to the Retromutation ones or the real Ghostbusters. So, making some more reproduction for it. Got another guy that wanted some, so made a batch for him. Of course, you know, like I said, the original green color, pastel neon green. It's very good. He'll be very happy with it with his slime pit. I'll probably end up filling it up all the way. You know, he only wanted, you know, 10 ounces. I'm going to give him 60 ounces. I'm just that nice. Next up we have Mattel's Mad Scientist. One of my favorites as a kid. And, well, I guess Pixel Dan loved it too. When I first started trying to do that one, I was kind of just going by all the pictures, the art, and whatnot. So I was making just different kind of variants based on whatever I saw. But, lo and behold, I eventually got an actual slime sample of some original Mattel alien blood, monster blood, mad scientist compound, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. This one's actually still awesome. I try not to play with it, but it's still all squishy and slimy and all that. And it glows. Glows in the dark. Most of the Mad Scientist ones out there are usually dried up. I was actually surprised I actually got one that wasn't. It was a, well, as you can see, it was a 4-in-1. So, but anyway, reproduction. It looks pretty much the same. It has a slight difference in the coloring because of the phosphorus back in the 80s was more of that, you know, yellow. Whereas nowadays the phosphorus is more, well, white. A lot brighter too nowadays too. I think I actually added just a little bit of high intensity phosphorus powder into this that kind of settles at the bottom, unfortunately. But anyway. Nice and thick. Sticky, droopy, stretchy. So yeah, anyway, I thought I'd make this video because people keep asking me to want to make videos of slime, of what I make. If you would like some reproduction slimes, I'm usually always making them. I usually try to keep a large batch on hand that are pre-made, usually without the coloring already added, because then I could just add the coloring to it and get it shipped out within 2 to 3 days. But anyway, so yeah, the people that want to make fun of me that my slime just, you know, turns to water. Wah, it's slime. It might turn to water still, but so far most of the batches I do, at least 90-some% of them, don't. And of course, if they do turn to water, you just, well, you get more slime. Duh. That's what you did as a kid. Of course, you can always, you know, try to make it back to slime, but that would mean you have to learn how to make slime. Have a good one.